Good morning, student. Good morning, Marcus. I hope you are doing fine. I hope you are doing great this morning. And I hope your weekend was equally well spent. So today we have to continue from where we ended. And like I said in our last class, when we were looking at the American involvement in Korea, in Cuba, today we are going to Vietnam. We are going to Vietnam, where we have to examine and assess the U.S. involvement in the war in Vietnam. That is from 1963 right up to 1970. The war was fought for over 7 years, over 7 years, 7 to 8 years. And it will be interesting for you to understand that the American involvement in Vietnam was heavily criticized by not only the American public, but the world at large, looking at the effect or the consequences of this war, mostly on the civilian population. But then, before we get to that point, I would like you to understand something about Vietnam. Vietnam. Where is Vietnam? It is found in Asia, in the southeastern part of Asia. And Vietnam, if you look at the location of Vietnam, what you should understand is that Vietnam is a long, narrow nation which is shaped like letter S. It's a long, narrow nation which is shaped like letter S, and it is in the southeastern part of Asia, on the eastern edge of the peninsula. If you look at the map, of the world and the Asian map, you will see the location of Vietnam in the southeastern part of Asia, mostly at the edge of the peninsula, which is known as Indochina, Indochina used to be a word that was generally referred to countries in that area. When I talk of countries in that area, I mean like Laos, like Cambodia, and Vietnam. So, before the Second World War, Vietnam is a country that has suffered a lot from foreign rule. Vietnam has suffered a lot from foreign rule. At first, Vietnam was under the Chinese. Vietnam was under the Chinese. After it fell to the French, later by 1942, it fell to Japan. And when the Second World War came to an end, the French came back again with the intention of colonizing Vietnam. So, Vietnam has suffered a lot from the hands of foreign occupation, from foreign powers. And in 1945, following the defeat of Japan, the French returned, hoping to continue its rule, this time to annex or to colonize Vietnam. But there was a very strong opposition to the French desire of continued domination of Vietnam. And this was led by the Viet Minh. You come across terminologies like the Viet Minh. What do you understand by the word Viet Minh? Viet Minh simply means the Vietnamese army. The Vietnamese army, they were collectively known as Viet Minh. This army refused or opposed, they put up very stiff opposition or resistance against the French coming back or the French domination in this area. And this opposition or this resistance finally, gave birth to a war between the French and the Vietnamese, the popular war of what became known as the Battle of Dien Bien Phu. The Battle of Dien Bien Phu, which was fought in 1954 between the French and the Vietnamese in Vietnam. And by the end of it all, Vietnam won the French, despite the support given to the French by America. At the end of it, Vietnam won the French in the famous Battle of Dien Bien Phu. And this marked the end of French involvement in Vietnam. This marked the end of French involvement in Vietnam. Now, what was the agreement signed that officially recognized the French departure from Vietnam? What do I mean to say? By the end of 1954, there was an agreement arrived at between these two parties, what they call the Geneva Peace Accord. The Geneva Peace Accord. This was where a series of points were highlighted and they were signed and co-signed by the two warring parties, or the two warring factions. And in the Geneva Peace Accord, the following were arrived at. One, both of them, I mean the Vietnamese and the French, agreed to split Indochina into three. They both agreed to split Indochina into three. Laos, which is a country today, Cambodia, which is a country today, and Vietnam. So this long area, which is carved like letter S, gave birth to two other nations. I mean Laos and Cambodia. And given this, in this same Geneva Accord or agreement, Vietnam was partitioned into two. Vietnam was temporarily partitioned into two. The South Vietnam and North Vietnam across the 17th parallel. Remember, when we were looking at Korea, we saw the division of Korea into two across the 38th parallel. 38th parallel line. So in Vietnam, it was across the 17th parallel. And this was meant to be temporary, during which time an election should be conducted to see the people's point of view, to see whether they needed a unified Vietnam, like what was proposed in Korea, which never materialized. But it was unfortunate that these elections did not take place. These elections did not take place. Why? The reason being that America was afraid that the Communist Party was going to win in these 1954 elections. So America had to do what? They did not go. The idea of the domino theory. America nurtured the idea of what they call the domino theory. Remember when we were looking at Korea? Was it Korea? Yes. We talked about the domino theory. What was the domino theory all about? The domino theory, according to American President Lyndon Johnson, was a theory whereby when one state fought to communist rule, the next state will follow. When one state fought under communism, the nearby neighboring states will also become communist states. And we know that America, all this period from 1945, has been struggling to contain the spread of communism. So America knew that during these elections, the communists will win. And if the communists win, it means all of these surrounding neighboring countries will become communist states. and she has been fighting to check the spread of communism. That was a reason she boycotted or these elections never held. I just want you to understand, the election never took place because of the dominion theory, which was introduced by the United States, where if one country fell to communism, other nearby countries will follow suit. That was a reason. Now, get it, Marcos. It's a very sweet and interesting history. At this point, Vietnam became a battleground against communism. At this point, Vietnam became a battleground against communism. And so, in 1955, the Americans supported Ngo Dinh Diem to set up the Republic of South Vietnam. Excuse me. Ngo Dinh Diem was a president or the leader of this other portion of South Vietnam. So America supported him to set up a government, to set up the Republic of South Vietnam. So by the mid-1955, South Vietnam became a state which was predominantly of American interest. Just like in Korea, America was in the south. In Vietnam, America was still in the south and supported Ngo Dinh Diem to form a government. And this government was formed, but the government was heavily criticized because Ngo Dinh Diem was a very corrupt somebody who doesn't even took interest of the communists, of the Vietnamese. He had no interest. His issue was him and America. And the same thing we saw in Korea when, in Cuba, when the American Batista ran a very corrupt government and he was heavily criticized. And it was partly because of this nature of corrupt government that during the revolutions he was overthrown and Fidel Castro came to power. This is the same thing we are seeing in Vietnam, where the American South Ngo Dinh Diem formed a government on the advice of America, but this government was heavily criticized because of its corrupt nature. Now the question I begin to trouble me is that why is it that wherever the Americans are, there's always this issue of corruption, there's always this issue of dissatisfaction, there's always this issue of apathy. The government is not always loved by the people. This is what we are seeing now in Vietnam. And this guy was criticized because of the corrupt nature of his government. Because of the corrupt nature of his government. And what happened? The people show very little consideration. Most the Ngo Dinh Diem and his cabinet ministers, they show no interest to the Vietnamese. Basic necessities were not always there. Even if they were there, they were only for a selected few. The good majority of the Vietnamese in the south suffered a lot. So, soon after this peace deal or the Geneva Protocol, we realized that the American gave support. The Americans gave support heavily to the southern part of Vietnam against the Viet Cong, against the Viet Cong. Who were the Viet Cong? The Viet Cong, who were they? Viet Cong. The Viet Cong were communist guerrillas because the northern part of Vietnam was communist and the southern part of Vietnam was capitalist. So the Viet Cong were the guerrillas who were trained to fight in the jungles, and they were known as the communist guerrillas. But during this time, some communist guerrillas still operated in the southern part of Vietnam. So the Vietcong inside the south destabilized the government of Ngo Dinh Diem. They did everything possible to destabilize his government. Excuse me. Everything was done by the Vietcong to destabilize the government. And we're doing everything possible to capture the South so that the whole of Vietnam will be communist, just like in Korea. Just like in Korea, they did everything possible to destabilize this government and to make it sure communism was implanted into the southern part of Vietnam. So, war ensued between the South Vietnamese and the Vietcong. The Vietcong, like I said, they were the communist guerrilla. People who were trained to become guerrilla to fight the war. And given this state of affair, America, supported the South Vietnamese, gave them support, and the conflict was widening, and a full-scale war was at the brink. There was a possibility of a full-scale war. Now, the next issue which we have to look at now is, why did America become involved in Vietnam? What was the American interest in Vietnam? Remember, we asked the same question. The same question was asked. American interest in Korea and the American interest in Cuba. I think the answer is not far-fetched to check or to contain the spread of communism. Before other reasons will come later. But what should come into their mind should be America wanted to stop the spread of communism by all costs, even if it means going to war. Remember that after the end of the Second World War, there was an iron curtain dividing line between Western Europe and Eastern Europe. And this dividing line was along those countries that were communists. Czechoslovakia, Albania, Hungary, Romania, all the near-nears. There was that dividing line which was known as iron curtain. Truman called it iron curtain. And iron curtain has descended across the continent of Europe. Now, this communist practice did not only limit itself there, but it has to eat deep and deeper and deeper into other countries. Now, they have taken it from Europe now to Asia. So the Cold War has been transferred from Europe to Asia. Remember, the Cold War was born during the Potsdam and the Yalta conferences. That was the birthplaces, those were the birthplaces of the Cold War. So the Cold War now has been carefully transferred from Europe now to Asia. So America and Russia have packed their bags of domination from Europe, now they're going to Asia. One, we saw America and Russia in the Caribbean island of Cuba, which culminated into what became known as the Bay of Pigs invasion and the Cuban Missile Crisis. We saw it there. Those are manifestations of the Cold War, the containment of communism. Secondly, in 1950 to 1953, we saw the Americans again in Korea. We saw them in Korea. to contain America. Russia was trying to spread communism. America too was there to check the spread of communism. And today, Marcus, we are now in Vietnam. We are now in Vietnam. Why was America deeply involved in Vietnam? That is a question I have just posed. And I've just told you that Vietnam is a country that has suffered history of foreign domination, but America was never there. But today we see America deeply involved in the debacle in Vietnam. So that is why we are posing this question. Why were they deeply entrenched in Vietnam? One, the weak and the corrupt government of Ngo Dinh needed U.S. support. It needed U.S. support. America wanted somebody who would be there to check communism and to promote the interests of capitalism. So since this government was very weak and corrupt, America got involved in supporting him so that he could succeed. And if he does succeed, it means communism will be kept at bay across the 17th parallel. But in as much as the communists, the Viet Cong, were operating in South Vietnam, it makes the situation very uncertain, because history has just told us that by the end of this 1955, the Viet Cong controlled 40% of South Vietnam. Imagine, the Viet Cong were controlling, the communists, you like to call it Viet Cong, called the communists, were controlling 40% of South Vietnam. So only 60% was left for America to check and to struggle and send back the Viet Cong out of South Korea. 2, U.S. policy of containment. They supported the French to avoid the spread of communism in or across Asia. This is the same issue I kept telling you. The policy of containment, which is equally the policy to check the spread of communism. That was why at the Battle of Dien Bien Phu, America supported the French very seriously. So that if the French survive, it means America and the French will put heads together to chase communism out of this part of Asia. That is the second reason. The third reason has to do what? President Eisenhower believed in the domino theory. President Dwight Eisenhower believed in the domino theory. And what was this domino theory all about? That is what we have to understand. Simply, I told you that when one country falls over the communists, or one country is taken over by communism, it means the other countries will follow suit. And gradually, the whole world will be engulfed by communism. And a thing which America will not sit and allow it happen. So, this aspect of the dominant theory was deeply embedded in the minds of the American people, most of the president, who was bent on checking and making sure that communism does not get into other countries across Asia. That's the 10th point. Then, the U.S. Air Force pilots were sent to support France. The U.S. Air Force pilots were sent to support France. That was equally why America was in Vietnam. Because during this war, or the Battle of Dien Bien Phu, America had to support France as an ally. So one of the reasons for America getting involved in Vietnam was the support given to the French during the 1954 war. Then, with the withdrawal of France, America gave military and economic assistance to South Vietnam. So that South Vietnam could not depend on Russia or from the communists. So after France had left, America gave financial and military support to the southern part of Vietnam. And we shall look at this military support right up to the presidency of Richard Nixon. When Nixon came to power in the mid-60s, the mid or the later part of 1960, Nixon struggled and withdrew the American troops, the presence of American troops in Vietnam under a policy known as Vietnamization. But before this period, the Americans assisted South Vietnam with military and economic assistance. And by 1963, we saw 40% of South Vietnam was controlled by the Viet Cong. 40% of South Vietnam was controlled by the Viet Cong, making matter worse. Now, these are the reasons for American involvement in Vietnam. These are the reasons. Very easy to assimilate. Very easy. Now, in our next class, I will take you to why did American involvement in Vietnam increase? Why did her involvement in Vietnam increase? That is where we shall be going to. And during this period, we shall be looking at the fact that President Kennedy, decided to increase the military presence in this area because he wanted to look very strong. These were the last days of the presidency of Kennedy. He wanted to look very strong after he failed in the Bay of Pig invasion in Cuba, and he failed in the Cuban Missile Crisis. So he wanted to be very strong and to reverse the attention of people following the failure of America in Cuba, and so on and so forth. So we'll continue from here in the next class, Mr. Marcos. I have seen your work, I've seen your book, I've seen your assignment. I will encourage you to continue in this spirit. I will encourage you to continue in this light because I see in you a bright and serious Guinean in future. So I continue to ask God to continue to bless your endeavors. You're always coming around, giving your homework to teachers, your notes to teachers for checks. I think I would say kudos, Marcus. So I will end here for today, and until we meet again in the next class, goodbye, and I wish you the best.